Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your September 2018 Astro Update. It's Rena here. So, Scorpio, as September rolls around, the sun is in a very idealistic place, the 11th house of hopes and wishes, your friendships, and group associations. And actually, for you, this is a friendly angle because Scorpio and Virgo, water and earth, form a sextile in this particular case, and this means that things are easier to accomplish. And the other thing I wanted to just mention very briefly about that 11th house in terms of hopes and wishes, because I've read that it's the luckiest house. So it's possible that if you've had a long-held dream, that this is going to be your focus in September of accomplishing this. And Mercury, which has been in your career sector and making you all about your career, thinking about it all the time, and you've had a lot of energy in this sector recently, now moves to that idealistic 11th house. And you could be even who knows, maybe just making plans of exactly how you're going to make this happen. There might be a specific thing that you have in the works, and it could have nothing to do with career. This could be purely about creating your dream life. And so Mercury is about organizing this. And, kind of crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and doing the paperwork, whatever it takes to make these things happen. The next day, on the 6th, Saturn turns direct in Capricorn, which is your third house. It deals with communication of all sorts, teaching and learning, but also the internet. Now, for you, in addition to Saturn, you have two other heavies in this house. You have Mars and you have Pluto. Now, Pluto's been there for 10 years. All three of these, and it's interesting because Pluto and Mars are your rulers. So that might actually work in your favor, whereas other people go, yikes, Pluto. But you are comfortable with that. And I think Saturn is something that you can handle as well. Saturn can be a very grounding influence. And any kind of matters concerning an online business or aspirations to do something along the lines of blogging or vlogging, YouTubing, these kinds of things can really be made in substantial. You're not doing them in a half-assed way. When Saturn is there, you're doing things professionally. You're doing things thoroughly and with great discipline, paying attention to details. And so this is the kind of transit that only comes around once every 30 years of Saturn transiting a particular house for a few years. So this is a time for any Scorpios out there who have been trying to launch something online to do your homework and to really take advantage of this transit, because Saturn can help us. The only thing, though, that Saturn is not about excess. So anytime that people want to be slapdash, they want to get ahead very quickly, that's not what Saturn is about. Saturn is methodical. And so in those cases, Saturn can act as an obstacle until you get it right. But if you approach Saturn with respect in the Saturn transit, you can lay out the groundwork for several decades in advance. And when, since Saturn has gone direct here, you may have noticed in recent months that any kind of plans that you've had that you were trying to get launched that had to do with the internet felt like, there were roadblocks left and right. That's all done for a reason. Maybe you didn't have the chops down yet. Maybe there was more work you needed to do behind the scenes. On the 9th, we have Venus, which has been in your 12th house, moving into the first house of the self in your sign. So that can be very good. If you want to look good, that can be very good, Scorpio. In the 12th house, for those first 9 days, Venus may have kind of highlighted karmic love. And this actually is going from August, this theme. You may have met somebody who is who felt familiar to you and realize that this is some kind of relationship that has just kept going and going. Whether or not it's a positive relationship, time will tell. Also, sometimes this can indicate that you are keeping a relationship secret. Now, Scorpios are no strangers to secrets. That's what I meant to say. And you can be quite secretive. So I could see a Scorpio person not wanting to tell others about their new love for various reasons, including not wanting the input of other people, other people's 2 cents being put into it. But now you may be wanting to bring it out into the open. So there's a possibility that that's occurring. But Scorpio, to have Venus in your sign in that first house can enhance your life in terms of making a good impression on others, because the first house can be the house of the body, of just your image, and other people will respond in a positive way. Doesn't even matter so much how you actually look. You may just give off a certain aura that is very appealing to others. On that same day, we have a new moon in Virgo, again, the 11th house of hopes and wishes and friendships. Now, in terms of hopes and wishes and friendships, I did want to state too that you may be making new contacts and new friends, and maybe this ties into the things that you want to accomplish. An example that I could see in terms of one of my long-held desires involves a tiny home. I think it would be wonderful to be part of a community with people who are interested in that kind of a thing, and to all share a certain amount of acreage. And maybe something along those lines, because the 11th house is a communal house. It's the house of the collective. So because you have this type of energy there right now, the new moon there, you may make new connections, new friendships, and networks. So it doesn't have to be buddy friends. It could be just you're starting to connect, maybe even through the internet, with certain people that can bring you closer to your dreams. On the next day, Mars, which has been in that 3rd house, now direct, of course, goes into the 4th house of home and family. So I just wanted to kind of review this, because when Mars went retrograde back in late June, it went retrograde in your 4th house of home and family, Scorpio, and then it dipped back into the 3rd house. Now, the 3rd house can be siblings, and the fourth house can be your family of origin. Some say the father, but the mother seems to me the more logical of the two parents. But let's just broaden it to parents in general, or your past. And so if you had any kind of conflicts, maybe they're old fights that kind of reared their ugly head a couple of months ago. Now that Mars is direct, you may still be experiencing some friction, but it's not going to be, it's going to be more overt. Like when Mars went retrograde, there wasn't really, it might have even been like a truce or some kind of internalized battle. And now you're like, it's almost like being more assertive, if you will, but you still want to pick and choose your battles. If you're dealing with family members that you have felt, maybe you felt like the black sheep of the family, and you feel that sense of defensiveness, which I can associate with Mars, where, you know, Mars is the god of war, and it's like that desire to protect yourself through aggression. You might want to rethink that, because if you're dealing with people who are deliberately trying to provoke you, then you're giving them exactly what they want. Sometimes the best way to kind of deal with these kinds of issues is not to feed into it. And I think I'm just thinking about myself and how I have just come to realize that drama is completely pathetic. And yet it serves a purpose when you're trying to honor yourself. And maybe you get upset and you're trying to protect yourself. But the people that go through life trying to start fights, just feel sorry for them, because they know not what they do. They think that they're, you know, on some road to happiness by doing this. It's only being an energy vampire, and you don't need to be their source of feed, you know, if you will. Let them find some other host, you know. Be above the fray. This could also have something to do with renovation. When Mars goes into the 4th house on the 10th, you may be doing some rehab of your house. Maybe you're a tear down, something totally remodeling an area of your house. And then on the 21st, Mercury goes into Libra, and this is that 12th house. You actually have that happen, and the very next day the sun goes into this sector. The 12th house is the house of past lives. As I said before, Venus has been in this house. And now you have Mercury and the sun there. And this is your hibernation period beginning, because a month before your solar return, you do have the sun and Mercury go into this house. And this can be a time to kind of get more rest. You may not feel as social, which is kind of funny because you had a new moon in the social sector. But you might feel like you need more rest. You might not feel as energetic. And you might feel more contemplative. You might feel like you just want to be alone. The 12th house is the house of solitude, meditation, things like that. You might have monk-like feelings. So use this time to rest, to dream. You know, this is a house of dreams. And, you know, referencing that 11th house, dreaming of what it is that you want to manifest at the time of your solar return, your birthday, and beyond, you know, for the upcoming year. You have had Jupiter in your sign. How have you expanded? What kind of new things have come into your reality that have kind of influenced your direction, Scorpio? And where do you want to go? On the 24th, we have a full moon in Aries at 1 degree of Aries. This is your 6th house of health, daily routines, and pets. What else is the 6th house known for? I'll just leave it at that. Work matters. So it could be coworkers. You may learn something about a coworker that you didn't know. I mean, this could be like information that is important for your particular job trajectory. Maybe you've been trying to compete for a promotion, and you find out what a coworker's been up to. You know, sometimes with full moons, we're talking about secrets being revealed. But this could be a promotion. Again, with the full moon, it's a heightened state. It's a state of fullness, and that could include heightened experiences with your work life. It's possible that with the full moon in the 6th house, something comes to a head physically for you. Maybe you've been experiencing symptoms of something, and it really makes itself aware to you that you need to look at something physical. But it can be a great time for detoxing because the full moon is one of the periods, you know, you will see different cultures that actually fast, and you have to, you know, take your own health into account for that. It might not be advised for everybody to do something like that. But I know I was going to Kundalini yoga, and they have a thing where they're really into the moon cycles. And they have like, I can't remember, where they fast or just drink liquids or something on the new and full moon. I can't remember. And I don't remember why they were talking about it. But yeah, I mean, there's even a moon diet, believe it or not, where you just drink pure live juices all day during the full and the new moons, and you're supposed to lose weight. Well, you know, and they said up to 8 pounds a month or something. Well, whatever, you might lose water weight, but again, that's something that you would have to do, you know, depending on your own health as it stands right now. But yeah, but that's just something very interesting because there is a purging effect of the full moon and so the health, this is in the health area, but you might decide to end a particular job. Maybe this is a second job, or possibly you're moving to a different office and you're not working with people that you are working with right now. You're going to be leaving that. And so it could be an ending of that kind. But it's very interesting because you have had a lot of career beginnings. You actually had a solar eclipse here in August, and so that could point to a lot of changes with career, but in a positive way, a lot of opportunities opening up for you. Okay, Scorpio, that's what I have for you. So if you'd like a private reading, I will link 2 of my natal chart types of readings, and one is the astrological trends for the coming year, which is a shorter one, and one includes the interpretation of your planets and different signs and houses. Have a wonderful month of September, Scorpio. Take care. Bye.